Hey, good morning. This is Jamey from Stonemeyer Games, and I'm wearing my orange t-shirt because today is pre-order day for Tapestry Arts and Architecture. The new expansion is on our web store now, or on our web stores now, because we have a US store, we have a Canadian store, we have a European store, and we have a store for Australia and New Zealand, all shipping from fulfillment centers within those regions. So you can go to those stores, you can see currency in your local currency on those web stores, and see the exact inventory that we have in stock. Or you can't see the inventory, but you can buy products that are maybe in stock in your area but aren't necessarily in stock in other web stores. So that's kind of what we've been doing with our storefronts recently, and I'm just really excited to get Tapestry Arts and Architecture to you. I should clarify, we use the term pre-order, but really what this means is that we have this product in stock at all of our fulfillment centers right now. And we use the term pre-order because we usually get such an influx of orders today, really, today and tomorrow, that it'll take a little bit longer to ship than a regular order. So if you place a pre-order, you're guaranteed that you will get the product very soon, within a few weeks. And so it's not like pre-ordering for months in the future or years in the future. We have the product. We are ready to send it to you right now. It'll just take a few days to do so. Looks like Tony already got his pre-order in. Dominic got his pre-order in and got some stuff for some coworkers. Yeah, this is a great time to get gifts. In fact, I should have mentioned our gift guide in the e-newsletter. I'm looking at the e-newsletter over here on my other menu. No, yeah, I totally did not even put our gift guide in the e-newsletter, but we do have a gift guide on our web store if you want to check that out to see if you're looking for certain gifts for people for the holidays. It's a gift guide created by personality type, so that's a little different approach to a gift guide if you want to check that out. Looks like Mitchell and George got their orders in as well. Thank you so much for doing that. Hey, Cynthia is here from MapleSource. Good to see you, Cynthia. MapleSource always gets a mention in our e-newsletter because we're good friends with them. Andrew Stevens, I won't say everyone's name who shows up, but thank you everyone for pre-ordering Tapestry Arts and Architecture. It looks like the only moment of consternation, which I always try to avoid, but there is a little bit of consternation this morning about the dice. There's a die included in this box. Let's see if I can pull it out now. So whenever you're playing with the arts track, you need a new science die. You probably won't play with the arts track every time you play, but when you do, you'll need the new, let's see, where is it? Here we go. You'll need the new science die. And when we originally sold Tapestry, we made some extra dice because we thought, okay, people might want some extra dice. And not that you need them, it's rather than passing around this die around the table, you can all each have your own die. So we did that with Tapestry. But we weren't sure, we were really not sure how many to make for the new expansion. And so we just made kind of a normal replacement parts level amount of dice. So there were very, very few of these extra dice. And so today people are showing up at our web store hoping to get those extra dice, and really they're already sold out. They're sold out in every region. However, this isn't terrible news. You have the die included in the expansion that you need to actually play the expansion, and we are definitely going to make more based on the back in stock requests that you make for those dice. So for everyone who makes a back in stock request, we'll probably round up and we'll just guess that everyone wants 4. That isn't always the case, but that will be our best guess, and we will make more right away. I don't know when they'll be ready. It'll probably take a few months. Production usually takes a few months for anything. But that is the plan, and I'm sorry if there's a little bit of frustration about that, but I promise you our intentions are good. We want to make the dice that you want, but we didn't want to make, a ridiculous number of dice and not have them available for, or have way too many available for people who didn't want them. So I think this is a more precise way to do it, and we'll make them right away. So, but make sure you make that back in stock request so that we know how many to make. That really will be very helpful. Mike says, he just ordered the expansion. He says, do I have a favorite building in Tapestry or any of the expansions? The new ones look pretty amazing. I love castles in general. And so here, I'm going to pull all this stuff out of the box here. But I do love the castle in this expansion. So the castle is in homage to Between Two Castles and to My Little Scythe. And I really like this shape, not only because it's big and because it's castle, but also because it has this little part right here that can wedge into a space that is pretty tight. So I really like that. Matt says, would I be willing to give a shout out to the Jordan High School Board Game Club? Sure. That's awesome that there's a board game club at Jordan High School, and I hope you all are having fun playing games. And maybe you'll even get the Tapestry expansion to the table next week in your board game club. Adam says he had some weirdness where it removed the champion discount on the shipping step, but a couple refreshes seemed to fix it. Yeah, thanks for letting me know, Adam. Sometimes that happens when people use, not that you're doing anything wrong with it, but when the Apple Pay seems to mess up the champion discount a little bit. You still get it, but it isn't as visible as it should be. So I don't know if you're using Apple Pay, or it might be a little glitch. But yeah, if anyone has a glitch, the best way to let us know, especially when I'm live here, if there's something that we need to fix, is to instead email joe@stillmeyergames.com. Joe is kind of standing by, ready for those customer service requests that come in on any pre-order day or any given day. But that's the best way that he can help you while I'm live here. Adam says, let's see. Sorry, Facebook is scrolling quickly. Casey says, I just said next week. Does that mean the U.S. pre-order is going out soon? Yeah, I mean, so we have fulfillment centers ready to start shipping this right away. So if you are a Stillmeyer champion, your order will start, or your pre-order will probably ship. Well, I don't want to say it'll probably ship. Depends on how many champion pre-orders we get. But some champion pre-orders will start shipping even this week. That doesn't mean you'll receive it right away. Shipping speeds are going to be very slow this holiday season. So you might see a shipping notification, but you might not actually get it for a few weeks. But yeah, they're going to start shipping out of the fulfillment centers right away. And the champion orders will probably take through most of next week to fulfill. And by the end of next week, they'll start to get to non-champion orders. Yeah. George says, have I seen that film documentary 14 Peaks on Netflix? I haven't, but it sounds like it may be a climbing or hiking documentary. What's the topic for that? I might need to check that out. Adam says, any chance of the Tapestry expansion coming to Board Game Arena? Someday, yes, but right now, even just the core game of Tapestry is still in beta on Board Game Arena. So it'll be a while before they can even get that into like the final version. And after they do that, I'm going to start talking to them about adding the expansions. I think they also want to see if it's worth their time. It is a part of the paid Board Game Arena plan, and so they need to decide if it's worth their development time to actually put it on there. But I think it will be. I think Tapestry is doing pretty well on there. Tim and his new baby is dropping in. He says that he's pre-ordered the new expansion. Thank you, Tim, for doing that. I also have, Tim says he's excited about 2022, and you can kind of see what's coming up a little bit in 2022 based on the work in progress graphic on our, I'm looking over here at my second monitor, the graphic on our e-newsletter. We always put that graphic up there. You can see the link in the description here of what's in our e-newsletter. And there's a lot of different progress being made on various projects there for 2022 and beyond. We typically plan around, I don't know, 1 to 2 to 3 years in advance, at least 2 to 3 years in advance. Nathan says, am I no longer using Shopify? The checkout process looks different. Nope, you're on a Shopify store if you're ordering from us. We are using Shopify Plus now, and so it's a little enhanced, but it is very much still Shopify. Tonk says, your last couple games have been fairly light. Am I still excited to design heavier games? I love to design medium weight games. Rolling Realms definitely is a little lighter. I designed that game not with the intention of publishing it and then ended up publishing it. It's a little lighter, but if you play a full 3 rounds, it's more of a medium weight length of a game. Red Rising, I would say, has a medium weight complexity. Maybe you've just gotten a little heavier in your game taste, Tonka. But yeah, I mean, my gaming taste vary a little bit in terms of what I like to design. But some games I have in the works are a little heavier than those games. I don't think we'll ever publish a heavy game. I don't think any of our games are heavy games, but most of our games will fall into that medium weight world of games. Let's see. Jason says, have I read the Expanse book series? If so, did you get Leviathan Falls when it came out yesterday? I did. Yeah, I'm super, super excited to read the final book in this series. I never really got into the show. It's a good show, but I like the books more. And I was really excited to see that final book show up on my Kindle yesterday. So I haven't started reading it yet, but I'm excited to get to it. Tiago sounds like a very specific question here, but I'll see if I can help Tiago. He says he just went to buy the European expansion and was redirected to the new European shop. I had to create a new account, which I did with the new email, but it's not recognizing me as champion, so I'm not getting the discount. Is there anything I need to do in the Europe store? Yeah, you should have gotten an email last week. It might be in your spam folder about how to transition your current champion account over to the European store. Please email Joe at stillmeyergames.com, and he can forward that information to you and help you set up your new account. So it becomes a champion account on the Europe store. But do that right away before you place any orders on that European store. George confirms that 14 Peaks is about a guy from Nepal who climbed all 14 18,000 meter plus peaks in 6 months. That's really cool. That's impressive. That's quite impressive, yeah. Tim says he taught his brothers Rolling Realms with the new Terra Mystica realm. Yeah, that's the other thing I wanted to mention. Thank you, Tim, for mentioning that. And thank you for teaching it. Last week, I think I mentioned that we now have the Terra Mystica promo pack for Rolling Realms on our web store. And I'm guessing many of you waited to order it until you could get it with the Tapestry expansion. We have plenty of these available. There's no rush to get them. I would highly recommend ordering them with something else from our web store to save on shipping. But yeah, I'm really excited to get this is the first realm for Rolling Realms that is based on a non-Stonemaier game. Here, I'll even show you what it looks like. Here is what it looks like. You'll get one card for each of the different players. They're all identical cards except for the back. And this is what the realm looks like for Terra Mystica. We have more promo realms on the way and even more in the works. I'm excited to reveal them to you over the next months, years. We plan to do it for quite some time in this living game that is Rolling Realms. I am hoping also to do I didn't do any last week, because last week was Thanksgiving week, but I'm hoping to do a live play of a round of Rolling Realms later this afternoon, or maybe tomorrow, depending on how this afternoon ends up looking. But yeah, so feel free to, if you're in the mood for playing some Rolling Realms with me later this afternoon, I'll probably pop online around 3 o'clock St. Louis time. Jason says, I'm a huge fan of the Geek Up bits from Board Game Geek. That's cool. Yeah, I've never seen them myself. We're not involved with that process, but I'm glad you're happy with them. I know that Board Game Geek makes those Geek Up bits for Wingspan in particular. He says, is the Wingspan Big Box going to be able to accommodate their upgraded tokens? So our approach with the Wingspan nesting box is that we've made compartments big enough to hold many components, but there are many, many third-party accessory companies that make different sizes of components. They're not in partnership with us. They are approved by us, but not in partnership with us. So we can't possibly make the box to accommodate every token. Like someone could make a bird token that's this big, and we can't say, okay, we're going to fit that in the box. So probably, I think the Geek Up bits do fit. I do know that the Meeple Source bits for the player tokens are so big that they're not going to fit into the main section where player tokens will be kept in the nesting box, but there's plenty of room in the base level for them. So the box is flexible, it's modular, even though a component may not fit in the like a core component, like the core area that we're designing for that component. There's plenty of room elsewhere for a variety of components of different sizes from third-party accessory companies. If those of you are hearing me talk about this and don't know what I'm talking about, we are making a big box/organizer for Wingspan. There's no, it's not like a big box in the way that you've heard it in the industry before, where it's like all the game stuff included in the box. It's not that. It's just a box and an organizer for all Wingspan stuff. And we were planning to release that at the same time as the next Wingspan expansion, sometime much later in 2022, probably Q3, Q4 2022. David says, I know a few friendly local game stores are having a hard time getting your products. They say that they aren't able to even order direct when all else fails. Have you found it hard to supply the demand? Is there going to be any changes for greater availability at friendly local game stores, or is the focus still on direct to consumers and large retailers? That's a great question, David. And it's a little concerning to hear that from local game stores, because it's actually very easy for them to order directly from us. Not every product is going to be available all the time. If you go to our web store, you'll see some things that are just sold out right now. But if a friendly local game store wants to order directly from us, they can do so right now. If they're in the US, we haven't totally branched out that system beyond the US. But we even just had one the other day. We heard from a store that said that Stonemaier Games no longer supports friendly local game stores. And we looked into it a little bit, and we found that we had actually emailed with this store a few months ago. We told them how to set up an account, a retailer account on our web store, and they just never replied. So they didn't put in like the bare minimum effort to set up a very easy to set up account. It only takes a few seconds. And then they could have started ordering from us and stocking our products. Instead, they just didn't reply, and they don't have our products on their shelves right now. That's paired with our partnership with distributors. We now go to distributors, and we have done this for quite some time. Before we even start a print run, we go to distributors and say, hey, how many copies of this game do you want us to make for you? We will make anything you want. Just tell us how many you want us to make so that you can serve your retailers. And so we've been using those numbers for quite some time now. And some distributors just don't reply. Some distributors I don't think are collecting data from retailers. I'm not trying to knock distributors and retailers, but when I hear something like this, it's concerning because everything I've seen is that this is a problem that the retailer isn't taking a little bit of effort to actually place an order on our web store. But David, we still want to help because I hear that frustration, and we want to help retailers. If the process isn't smooth for them, we want to make it smoother. And so feel free to always email me at jamey@stomeyergames.com and let me know if your retailer is struggling to get our products so that we can set them up. Especially if they're telling you things like this, that they're not. David says the retailers say they aren't able to even order direct when all else fails. I don't know. That seems very odd because we literally every product on our web store that we sell to retailers, I think they're all available on our web store right now in the US. So David, let me know what store you're talking about. Maybe don't call them out live. I'm not going to hold it against the store as long as they're not actively bashing us for something that isn't true. But email me the store's name and we'll get in touch with them. We'll help them out. We want to help them out. But we can't force the store to do this. In the end, the store has to actually place the order. And if they're not doing that, I don't know what else we can do. They have to, they're the store, that's their job. If they want to serve their customers, they have to actually place the order for our products. Going a little mini rant there about retailers. Tim asked if I played Ankh, Gods of Egypt. I have not played that, no. My recent plays include Sushi Roll, Camel Up, a couple play tests, Cartographer's Heroes, and Isle of Cats. Those are my Thanksgiving plays. We spent a few days of Thanksgiving with family, had some good vegan food, played some disc golf, and played some good games over Thanksgiving. Let me look at my e-newsletter here to see what else is going on. So yeah, the main two things are that the Tapestry Arts and Architecture pre-order is live, and that the Terra Mystica promo realm is available on our web store. It has been available for about a week or so now, ever since the retail release date, November 19th, for Rolling Realms. But yeah, it's still available. Oh yeah, one big thing is we have our annual demographic survey. So if you check out the link on our e-newsletter, you have to scroll down a little bit. It's right under the Terra Mystica promo section of the e-newsletter. We would love it for you. I'm just reading the text to make sure I didn't put it incorrect. Yeah, it is correct. It's like a 2-minute survey. It's a demographic survey. We're trying to learn about you so we can better serve you. And 5 people that fill out this survey by December 7th, it looks like, that's what I'm reading on the newsletter, will receive a $100 gift card to the Stonemaier Games web store. So we would love if you could help us out by filling out that demographic survey, giving us some information about you anonymously. And although there's a place to put your email if you want, they're not for us to look at your demographic information, but for us to potentially offer you a special sale in the future. But yeah, that is super helpful for us. It is really, really helpful for us to get that information. And we'd love it for you if you would fill that out. That again is on our e-newsletter right now if you want to check that out. Renee says that they were excited to order the Tapestry expansion and forgot to add the promo pack of Rolling Realms. Yeah, if you forgot to add something to your order, right away contact Joe at joe@stomeyergames.com with your order number and let him know what you want to add to that order. Ideally, that won't happen too often. Joe can get flooded with those, but if you did forget something, feel free to email him right away with your order number and let him know what you want to add, and he can add that to your order. You'll get a little invoice in your email if you do that. David says, have I checked out Arc Nova? I do. Yeah, I have a copy of Arc Nova. I haven't played it yet, but I'm really, really excited to play that. Brian says, Brian's interested in one of the code names. In fact, I've heard a few questions about the code names and the code names in our e-newsletter. That's kind of in the spoiler category. So you'll know when I start to talk about them, but I don't answer questions about those things in advance. So stay tuned for any news about anything that has a code name. If it has a code name, it means I'm not talking about it yet. Yeah. Let's look. Any other news in the newsletter? Rolling Realms. Rolling Realms is actually free this week on Tabletopia. So if you want to check out Rolling Realms on Tabletopia, feel free to check that out. They did their best with the implementation, but I think it's kind of hard to do roll and write games on there. So it's a lot easier if you actually have a copy of Rolling Realms. But yeah, it is free on Tabletopia if you want to give it a try. I have a link to the eco-friendly update post that I put. It's in the newsletter. I made that post on our web store a couple weeks ago, and shipping update for the U.S. There's a note about that in the e-newsletter as well. We are slowly unburying the shipping containers that got buried a couple months ago. It's been the worst shipping thing that's happened to us yet, to have these containers be buried. One of them is still buried. The others have been unburied and are just waiting for people, truckers, to pick them up and take them to Greater Than Games here in St. Louis for fulfillment. So we're getting closer. The only one that has arrived is the Rise of Fenris. There are a few more that are imminent, but have not arrived yet. Tim actually just mentioned the unburied containers here. Yeah. Yeah, a few that we're really waiting on are Tuscany Essential, the Metal Mechs for Scythe, Wingspan Neoprene Playmat, and Wingspan European, and Wingspan Oceania too. We're all waiting for those. Like, those are in those containers. We've made them. We were just waiting for them to arrive, and they should have arrived months ago. George says, can the Wingspan Big Box accommodate all the player boards from the base game, plus Wingspan Oceania, plus 5 neoprene mats, and more? Yes, yeah, it's designed to have a full 5 folded player mats. Right next to them, another full 5 folded player mats. You can see this in the photos on our website. And then laying flat, a full 5 set of neoprene play mats, plus room on top of that for the rule books. So there's plenty of room up there. It's a pretty big section at the top of the box. Gerald says, since you have Rolling Realms available for a free print and play, and I should clarify that, I have the final print and play version of Rolling Realms available. But I have not even touched that since we started printing the game. So it is not up to date with the final version of the game. Gerald says, have I considered selling it as a free P&P of it for $3 or $5 through Shopify? No, I mean, we're not in the business of selling P&Ps. We're in the business of printing games. Rolling Realms was a unique situation in that it was originally designed purely for a one-page printable remote play. It was not designed to be a tabletop game. And once we invested the time and energy into making it an actual tabletop game, I haven't looked back at the PNP and haven't thought twice about it. If you want to play Rolling Realms, I would not recommend using the PNP. I would recommend getting the $20 game, especially since all the promos apply to the final version of the game. Jay says, is there an ETA on the Terra Mystica realm for Canadian fulfillment? That is a good question, Jay. Is it not available there yet? I'll have to look at that. Let's see. Canadian store. It might be one. There is one container that we're waiting to arrive at Canada. In Canada. Oh yeah, it's on the store. It's live. It's there. Yeah, it's there right now. Hey, go to the Canadian website. You can see the Terra Mystica realm. I think it's been there for a couple days now, at least, maybe a couple weeks. Darren says, did I get a fancy chocolate advent calendar? I didn't, but the chocolate that I'm really excited about right now is that we went to Catherine Ann Chocolates or Confectionaries, and they have really, really delicious homemade drinking chocolate. And so I've really been enjoying Catherine Ann drinking chocolate from Chicago. Adam says, awkward guess came out of nowhere for me. Do you enjoy any logic deduction type games? It's not a style of game I generally gravitate towards, Adam. I haven't tried awkward guess, but it sounds like I need to. What is a logic deduction type game that I really enjoy? I was just thinking of one the other day. Oh, I was talking about Samillo. So I like the Mysterium genre of deduction games. I don't know if that's exactly deduction, but it's kind of close in that area. So I like Mysterium. I like Mysterium Park. Really love Mysterium Park. And I just played Samillo on Board Game Arena recently and really enjoyed that as well. Tim says, when is Geekway to the West next year? Looking forward to playing more games with you. Yeah, Geekway is the convention in St. Louis that I love to attend every year. And I don't know the exact dates, Tim. I think it's available on their website, but I think it's in late May. But And I don't think they've started accepting tickets yet, but they have the dates posted on their website. I just can't remember the exact dates offhand. Joe says, any recommendation for a starter set of discs to try out in disc golf? If you go on, I don't know if you want to shop on Amazon, but you could research it on Amazon at least. But if you go to Amazon and search for like starter set, I got the Innova starter set, which you can buy from Innova as well. That's Innova. You really don't need to go all in if you're getting disc golf discs. In fact, you could even buy some used discs from a local store, or maybe from eBay. Buy just a few used discs and throw them for a while. You'll figure it rather quickly if it's a sport that you really enjoy and you want to go in to get more discs, or if it's not for you. But I wouldn't spend more than like $20 on a starter set. That'll just show you the ropes and show you like what it's like to throw a few discs. It's even more helpful if you have a friend who's into it, Joe, because then they can show up with their big bag of discs and you can try different ones and see how they feel before you start buying them. I would say every disc golfer has like an abundance of discs. They don't, even I keep a very small disc collection. I have like maybe 12, but I only actually throw 8 of them. And there are a few that I would definitely give to someone if I was hanging out with them and showing them what disc golf is like. David says, for both Wingspan and Tapestry, the first expansion seemed to be a more stuff one, with no major game changers, while the second really added a lot of new mechanisms. Is that your general philosophy for expansions? I think it's probably a little bit more of a coincidence, but maybe there is a pattern there, David, a subconscious pattern that the first expansion is just more stuff and the second is to appeal to maybe a different level of fan, a different type of fan who wants something a little different. It's not intentional, I can say that, but maybe there is. You're probably seeing a true pattern there. Scythe is a little similar to that too. Like Invaders from Afar was kind of more stuff, and then the Wind Gambit was a very different thing that it added to the game. And actually, my instinct for the third expansion of anything is to do a campaign expansion. I don't know if we'll do that with Tapestry, but that was the case with Scythe. Michael says, disc golf, the board game, when? You know, Michael, I think disc golf itself is such a wonderful dexterity game that whenever I want to play disc golf, I don't want to play it on the tabletop. I want to play actual disc golf. So I think there are some disc golf tabletop games, but with the closest being Mars Open. I actually have a YouTube video about this. I have a YouTube video of games that you might like if you love disc golf, with Crokinole and Mars Open being near the top of that list. If I'm kind of in the itch to play a dexterity game, I'd probably play one of those games. But if I'm getting the itch to play disc golf, I just want to go outside and play disc golf. Justin says, I recall a piece you wrote about not having a set schedule for your employees where they don't work 40 hours a week. They just know what needs to get done and they get it done. I think this is an awesome idea, but curious if there have been any negatives. So far, it seems to have worked out very well. We have very flexible work schedules at Stonemaier Games where there are no set hours that you need to be on the clock, or there's no clock at all. There's no expectation to work a certain number of hours at all. And my coworkers have unlimited vacation time. They can take off any time of the day if they want to go climbing or run an errand or do something. They're welcome to do that, as long as they still get their job done. The one negative I found is that sometimes I think if you have that approach in your business, it helps to have some boundaries. And I think oftentimes it means that you need to set personal boundaries. You need to say, okay, I'm not going to work after this hour. I'm not going to work on Sunday. I'm not going to work on Saturday. I think finding the boundaries that work well for you are really helpful. And I say this, I don't think there's been like a true negative for it. Maybe Alex or Joe would disagree, but I know sometimes they ended up working more than they thought that they would because they didn't have that delineation, because it is such a flexible work schedule. And I want to make sure that their personal time is respected and protected, that they're getting all the personal time they need to pursue their other hobbies, their personal lives, their relationships, things like that. So it's something I try to ask them about and keep an eye on. But I don't think there's been any like really harsh negative to it yet, just maybe an adjustment period. Jason mentioned that we do have signed cards on our web store. Yeah, I've signed a bunch of cards from our games, from my games in particular, and put them on our various storefronts. Hopefully they're in stock in most of the different places right now. If not, we need to restock them. David says that his friendly local game store truly does want to restock our products, so maybe they're just missing something and it'll help them out. So David, yeah, we genuinely want to help them out. We help out local game stores. And so please have them email me at jamey@stillmeyergames.com. In the end, they're going to actually end up talking to Alex. So if you want to have them email Alex directly, alex@stillmeyergames.com. But I'm always happy to hear from those stores and correspond a little bit with them before Alex really shows them how to set up their account on our web store. But yeah, we truly do want to help. I would say on a human level, it stings a little bit when a store says Stonemaier Games doesn't support retailers, or we can't order from Stonemaier Games, because we try to actually make it really easy for stores to do that. We send a monthly e-newsletter to retailers, but retailers have to opt into that. That's their choice. They also have to read it, and I know retailers have to deal with a ton of different publishers and a ton of other things. I know Stonemaier Games is not their priority. But I think in the end, there has to be it has to be a two-way street if we're going to work together with retailers. And we're here on our side of the street ready to help them. Justin has just a nice comment here. I'll read it out loud, Justin, because you were kind enough to say this. He says, something I've always appreciated about you and Stonemaier Games is the openness. You are always communicating with your fans, doing weekly newscasts, doing YouTube videos, etc. I really appreciate the time you take. Thank you, Justin. I really appreciate that. And I love the various connection points that we have with you and everyone else. We have these live casts. We have Instagram. We have the YouTube channel. And yeah, the whole reason for all those things is to connect with our fans, our followers, our gamers, designers, fellow creators. Yeah, I love these connection points. Jason says, and the new Red Rising painted metal cubes. They are in Canada as well, Jason. Yeah, just search the Canadian store for like Red Rising and you'll see them pop up. And if you don't, let me know. But I just checked this morning and I know they're there. Hopefully they're not sold out at this point. Dusty is popping in. He says, Dusty has this is Dusty from the Mill. He says, I just wanted to thank you for supporting our local library with your library support program. I have a board meeting tomorrow night and I'll be providing them an update on getting them registered with the program. Appreciate you and Alex's help on this. Dusty actually went above and beyond. I want to give Dusty credit for this because this is kind of similar to that two-way street that we have with retailers. We are here to support libraries who want to buy games from us at a special discount. But the libraries need to buy the games. They need to sign up for this program, which again is very easy to sign up. There's a very short form they need to do. Dusty recognized that his library probably wasn't going to do this. But so Dusty took it upon himself to take the initiative as a fan of his library and a fan of Stonemaier Games to sign up on the library's behalf with their permission. And so if any of you are really passionate about your local library and you want to see Stonemaier Games in that library, do what Dusty did. Maybe you could probably talk to Dusty about it on the Mill and find out more information about that. Dusty, maybe if you have a video where you've talked about this, or if you plan to talk about it on the Mill, feel free to put a link below. But I love the initiative that you took to do that, and I love it when anyone steps up to support something they're passionate about and to make that connection is really awesome. Thank you for doing that. Robin says that they're looking forward to the new Tapestry expansion and that Thinker Themer did a nice review of it. I have and love all your games. All of our games. That's awesome. Thank you, Robin. A full 12 games now, I think. 12 games over almost 10 years. We're coming up on our 10-year anniversary. So thank you for supporting our games. And I love Thinker Themer. They've become one of my favorite YouTube channels. Maggie and Amy are just incredible people, incredible content creators. And I am very fortunate. I feel very fortunate that they continue to accept our advanced copies, even as they grow bigger and bigger. Alex says, any plans on doing a top 10 video for 2021 board game releases as we approach the end of the year? Yes. I have been keeping a running list throughout the year, but I try to wait pretty much into the last minute to do it because I am playing 2020 releases all the way through the end of 2021. So the video will come out either in late December, but more likely the first or second week in January. But I am planning on doing it. My video this past week, if you're curious, was a special peek at my cabinet of secrets behind me where I keep old prototype products and samples for My Little Scythe and the Pie in the Sky expansion. So if you want to see a kind of a deep dive into some of the decisions we made about production and design, you can check out my long form video this past Sunday. And recent blog posts I've written. One was about gratitude. Thanksgiving, I always try to thank all the different people who have a positive impact on Stonemaier Games, including you. If you're watching this right now, you have a positive impact on Stonemaier Games. And I did a post on Monday about cost of living raises. Cost of living is something that I think is really, really important for any business owner to add to their employees' wages or salaries every year. And this year it's pretty high. It's 5.9% according to the SSA. So Just wanted to put that out there for other businesses to pay attention to. Obviously, we're doing that at Stillmeyer Games for my coworkers. And also, I talked about Black Friday a little bit and something clever that a store did for Black Friday. You can check out my blog post on Monday about that. Kai says, do you have a hint for a good Christmas-themed board game for me? Christmas-themed board game? I don't think I do. Does anyone have Christmas-themed board games they want to mention in the comments here? Bever says, what's your opinion on why other publishers would stop printing games that seem popular? I think, Jay says pre-order for Terra Mystica Realm on the Canadian store. Jay, it's probably, if we say pre-order, it means that we have it in stock. So it's there. I'll make a note about that. But it's there. We have the pre-order. Where's my pencil? We have it in stock there. Okay, Canada, TM. So go ahead and order it. We have it in stock there for sure. Well, I don't want to say for sure. I think you are safe to order it. It looks like it is, as far as I can tell, it is in stock there. Yeah, I'm going to take it off. I want to check with some things before I take it off pre-order, but I believe it is in stock in our Canadian store. And if not, it will be back in stock. It'll be in stock very, very soon. But I will check on that. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. Facebook scrolled past some questions here. Socrates says there's a lot of traffic. Yeah, there is a lot of traffic today. But if you check back in a few hours, I think you'll be fine, Socrates. I'm sorry you're going through some loading issues on our web store today. Todd says, please give a shout out to Joe as he does an amazing job working with customers. Thank you, Todd. Yeah, Joe is really, really amazing as a director of communications for all these customer service questions and emails that he gets, both reactively and proactively. Joe is amazing. And also Alex is amazing. Alex is our director of sales. He is the one that cultivates all these relationships with distributors and retailers that are so important to us and our localization partners. So shout out to both of them. I'm so grateful for both of them being my full-time coworkers on the Stillmeyer Games team. Let's see. Oh, Mark is very involved. He says he is he's a Professional Disc Golf Association state coordinator. He endorses my reply. He says he'll add that Dick's and other sporting goods retailers carry the Innova starter set. So if you go to Dick's store, you can check out the Innova starter set for disc golf discs. Brennan says, am I enjoying this season of Survivor? Who is my favorite player? Yeah, there's a new episode tonight. I am really enjoying Survivor. My favorite player, and I am all caught up except for tonight's episode. Who's my favorite? I'm enjoying Xander. I think Xander is playing a really, really interesting game. I also like Deshaun. I think Deshaun's playing a really interesting game. I like Danny. He's playing an interesting game as well. Yeah, I'd say maybe those are my top three at this point. Yeah. Jason says, what about you, Brennan, or anyone who's watching this season of Survivor in the U.S.? Who are you rooting for? Although maybe I probably shouldn't have said anything because people might be behind. Maybe don't do that. Don't spoil anything, just in case someone isn't fully caught up on Survivor. Jason says, are the signed cards only for my designs? They are. Yeah, I felt a little weird like signing my name on Wingspan cards because Wingspan was designed by Elizabeth Hargrave, especially the cards. So I've only signed the games games or expansions that I worked on, or that I designed. I work on all of our games, but that I specifically designed. Taylor says, what brand of disc do I use? I mostly throw Innova. There are a few outside of Innova, like my Buzz. I love my Buzz disc. I don't think that's Innova, but I mostly throw Innova. Jason says, since the new expansion hasn't arrived at the Fulfillment Center Canada, I'm hoping it will show in stock as well as the Red Rising Metal Cubes when the expansion arrives. I'll check that. I mean, I think the Metal Cubes are on there too. But I will, even if they're showing as pre-order, if we show anything as pre-order, it really means that we have it in stock. So I will check on that, Jason. But you are correct that the new expansion has not quite arrived in Canada. We're expecting it to arrive any day now, but we didn't want to put that. We wanted to let customers know that it hasn't quite arrived yet. But yeah, you're fine to wait for a couple days. We made plenty of copies for the expansion. I appreciate people pre-ordering on day one, but it is also fine to wait a few days if you want to. Edgar says, when will the Tapestry expansion ship for Champions? We'll start processing Champion orders right away. I can't say exactly when your order will ship, but It could ship this week. It could ship early next week. So either late this week or early next week, I would say. Bever says, can stores buy directly in Canada? We don't yet have our direct retailer program set up in Canada. We're working on that, but we don't have it set up yet. But soon. We're working on that. Jay says he doesn't see the metal cubes on the Canadian store. Let's see where that is. I will post, well, I don't know if I want to post a link, but so I'm searching for Red Rising here, and Red Rising painted metal tokens comes up. Oh, it's showing as draft. That's why it is. Okay, I see. Okay, you're right. I'm going to talk to Joe about that. I think this might be one of the products that has not yet arrived. I think it's maybe in the same container as the Tapestry expansion for Canada. It's showing as a draft product. I see. Sorry about the confusion there. That's totally my fault. I missed the draft label. I will look into that and get back to you about that. But what do we want to do? Yeah, just check back in a few days about that. Maybe tomorrow, maybe later today even. Edgar says, is there something special coming for the 10th year anniversary? Yeah, we're going to do something to celebrate our 10th year anniversary for sure. Yeah. Let's see. Just scrolling down, looking at questions here. So sorry about that. Yeah, I did. I'm looking at lots of questions from Canadians here. The Rolling Realms Terra Mystica promo I am showing as active and available on the Canadian web store. So that should be on there. Let me know if you can't see that, but that is an active product on the Canadian web store. It's under Rolling Realms promo -- Terra Mystica. Tom says, can I show the painted versus non-painted metal cubes for Red Rising? I can't right now because I don't have them on my desk, but you can see a pretty clear photo on the web store of what they look like. They look the exact colors that they should be rather than atomized colors. But if you look at the photo on our web store, that's exactly what they look like. Justin says, ballpark guess, if you're a champion in the US and you order the expansion today, do you think it might deliver before the 17th? What we've been told by couriers is that if you order today, December 1st specifically, most couriers are guaranteeing delivery by Christmas. And so I think there's a very good chance it will arrive by the 17th, but it really will come down to the courier. Our fulfillment centers are ready for this. They are shipping stuff right away. Yeah, I don't know how well couriers will do. I think there's a very good chance, though. Very, very good chance. Tim says he got a copy of Think Like a Game Designer by Justin Gary, and he's going to use it to work towards designing his own game. Tim also just published his 9th book. You're in full creator mode, Tim. That's awesome. Mike says, what game are you getting Megan for Christmas? You know, we're not really gift-oriented people, so I don't know if we're actually getting each other any gifts for Christmas. I think usually our gift level stuff is travel related. And travel has been really tough during COVID. So we'll probably take a fun trip next year, maybe a fun trip or two, but we'll have to see. Tim says, did I have a chance to check out Hellbound? I did not, Tim. No, we have a long list of shows to check out, but it's on the list. Just have not watched it yet. Dave says, any interesting game design lessons you've learned from watching Survivor? Funny you should ask, Dave. I actually, a while ago, I'm 99% sure that I wrote a blog post, let's see if I can find it, about Survivor, but I think it was more geared towards... Yeah, here we go. 5 things Survivor taught me about crowdfunding. Wrote this in 2015. I will post this down below in the comments. Yeah, check that out. Giuliano Galdi says, is this the last expansion for Tapestry? I don't know. I don't know. That's the honest answer. I don't really know. It depends on how this pre-order goes. If we do well with this expansion, we might make another one. Bever says, what's my worst performing game and how bad would sales have to be to stop printing it? Ooh, I never like to dwell on the negative. Yeah, I don't really want to dwell on the negative here, but I'll answer the second question. How bad would sales have to be to stop printing a game? If a game just sells really, really slowly or takes a long time to sell out the initial print run, we are pretty hesitant to make another print run. So yeah, I don't want to call out any specific games. Definitely not all of our games have been hits. We have some games that have sold uh, that just have not become evergreen games. Our goal is always to have an evergreen game, one that we can reprint and sell on a continual basis. But we've had some games where that has not been the case. And I don't know. It's just like if we make, say, 10,000 copies of a game and it takes us a year to sell those 10,000 copies, that is a huge red flag that we maybe have reached the peak of that of sales for that game. And what we'll sometimes do is we'll leave that product listed on our web store so people can put their back in stock request, and that is really really helpful information for us. Do not underestimate that for our web store or any other publisher's web store. When you see a back in stock request, especially for the publisher, we don't get that data from retailers, but from the publisher, that is really really helpful. If we get enough of those, then we might consider reprinting it someday. But that is not the case for every product, for every game, for every expansion, for every accessory. Yeah. Matthew says, what's my favorite dice placement game other than Euphoria? My favorite dice placement game. I know I've done some lists about dice games. I would probably say that Marco Polo is up there. I really do enjoy Marco Polo. Euphoria, obviously, you mentioned Euphoria. I'm trying to think of anything else. If I've done a video about that, let me pull up my YouTube channel to see what videos I've done about dice. Favorite dice. Favorite dice-driven games where you're actually placing the dice. Role player, you are kind of placing the dice, but it's not using dice as worker placement. Let's see, the one. Rogers the Ganges I love, but dice are kind of resources in that game. Fantastic Factories, you're kind of placing the dice in a private tableau. And Kingsburg. I do really enjoy Kingsburg too. Yeah, I actually didn't put Marco Polo on this list. I put Kingsburg above that. So at the time of making that list, I put Kingsburg pretty high up there in terms of my selection. Yeah. Alex says he recommends Hell of a Boss on YouTube. I'll have to check that out. I have not heard of Hell of a Boss. I'll check that out. Thanks for the recommendation. Mark says, could it be possible to get a missing component of my viticulture game with the order I'm placing today? He reported it earlier this year, but haven't received it after it was tagged as sent. So, Mark, I'm not sure what happened with that specifically, but I can say two things. One, if you didn't receive it, please make another replacement parts request and note that you requested it earlier in the year. I'm guessing it just got lost in the mail, which happens sometimes. I'm sorry about that. But if you got the request, and the correspondence indicated that we were going to send it, you should have received it by now. So please place another replacement parts request for that. Your other part of your question is, can we include it with the order? And no, our replacement parts helpers are separate from our fulfillment centers. They are individuals that help out. Our fulfillment centers are big warehouses that ship stuff. So they are separate things. So please, I'm really sorry to hear that, and I really want to help with that. So just fill out another replacement parts request and note that you had previously placed it, and we'll help out right away. And you can independently of that place your order. Let's see. Sean says, have I played Too Many Bones? I have not played Too Many Bones, no. Speaking of dice, Justin says that Cavern Tavern is a fun dice placement game. I haven't played Cavern Tavern either, but that sounds like fun. I like the sound of the theme right away. Caverns, taverns, I love those things. Alex says, his question may have been missed. Yeah, Facebook scrolled past a bunch of questions earlier. If I missed it, feel free to repeat it unless it's a spoiler question. Alex says, will the Stonemaier European store hold only English versions of the games or eventually the localized versions? Only the English versions. Yeah, we only sell the English versions of our products or the language independent versions. So if you want the French version, Alex, you'll go to the Matago web store and get our products from Matago. Dusty says, can you give us any idea what the 10-year anniversary celebration might entail? I'd like to leave that as a surprise, Dusty. Yeah. I can say the timing of it is roughly will be in September, because that's officially when Stonemaier Games became a company, when Viticulture funded on Kickstarter in 2012 in September. Can't remember the exact date offhand. It might be the 12th. It might be around the 12th of September. A lot of people are giving shout outs to Joe today for helping out with questions. See some people mentioned cancellations. If you can help it, I would please do not place an order and then immediately cancel it. It's much easier if you place an order and then ask us to modify that order than it is for us to cancel it. Because oftentimes it's already kind of in our fulfillment system as soon as you place that order. So it does create some complications when you place an order and then cancel it right away. It's much easier if you place an order and then ask Joe to modify it. Jay says, hopefully the Tapestry expansion Canadian delays aren't because the shipping container was forgotten at Panda. That was a very weird thing that happened one time. That definitely is not the case here. It's just, there's a container that is a little slow to get out of port at Canada, but it is already in Canada and should arrive at Hub Trotter any day now. Todd says, do I have a favorite hidden role game? I'm sure I'll miss my actual favorite here, but I do like Avalon quite a bit. If I'm in the mood to play a hidden role game, I enjoy Avalon. What's your favorite, Todd? Just looking through a few more questions here. Tim says, I wish you had more Rolling Realms markers available. Yeah, I guess we might need to sell them separately on our web store at some point. And he could use more score pads for Between Two Castles and the Oceania expansion. I think we have the Oceania expansion score pads on the web store, do we not? Are we already sold out there? I'll look that up. So you're looking for markers, you're looking for Oceania, score pads, and Castles expansion score pads. Okay. I'll see what I can do about getting them in stock, Tim. Jason says, am I interested at all in the Rise of Ix expansion for Dune Imperium? Do you have any thoughts about it? I haven't played it yet. I'm excited about it. I do feel like I still have so many more plays to get out of Dune Imperium itself that I don't feel the need for the expansion, but I love the game so much that I'm definitely excited to give the expansion a try. Yeah. I'm glad you all are liking the markers, seeing some positive comments about the markers in Rolling Realms. I am happy with them too. The only thing I wish is that we could have put erasers on the caps, but I thought we weren't able to do that. And so rather than get markers that weren't as good and separate erasers, or that had the erasers on them, we went with markers and separate erasers. But I am really happy with how the markers turned out. Let's see if I have any other topics. Our e-newsletter was pretty focused this month on Tapestry, Arts and Architecture, of course, and the Rolling Realms promo. But there were a few other little things. And again, if you can fill out the demographic survey linked in the description here or in the e-newsletter, that would be super, super helpful. And you can win a $100 gift card. We'll have 5 people who win a $100 gift card. I will contact those people on December 7th or December 8th, maybe December 8th. That's when I want to make sure I have a reminder to myself to actually do that drawing. Yeah, I do have a reminder to myself. Mark says, I've watched your video on Selenia. Do you know where I can get that one? I'm drawn to its day and night cycle. It might be out of print, so you might have to buy it on the secondary market. The copy I have was won at Geekway, so we won it, and we didn't buy that one. Todd says he loves The Resistance, but he's hoping to play Dead of Winter during Christmas break with the family. Oh, yeah, that's true. There is that heavier category of hidden role games. I know I'm forgetting one major hidden role game that I really, really enjoy. But yeah, Avalon is the one that generally comes to mind there. Giuliano says, what about Lost Ruins of Arnak? Do you like it? Do you think it's similar to Dune Imperium? I do not think it's similar to Dune Imperium, but I do like it very much, and I'm excited to try out that expansion as well. Lost Ruins of Arnak is very much, in my opinion, like a one more turn resource optimization game. Dune Imperium is a lot of other things. I wouldn't say it's a tight game, but I wouldn't say it's an optimization game like Lost Ruins of Arnak is. But they often get compared because they both have deck building and worker placement, but the deck building and worker placement are very different between the games. I think they're very, very different games that just happen to have a few odd similarities, and they came out at the same time, so they're compared. But they're very, very different games. Taylor says, is the Tapestry expansion your last big release of 2021? Yeah, I mean, we only have 30 days left in the year. So yeah, this is our last release of 2021. Enjoy your day as well, Tim. Thanks for popping in. Jason says, is there a game that you are so enthralled with that you can't get it out of your head for months at a time? For me, it's Sleeping Gods. He says he played 2 campaigns solo when his Kickstarter delivery arrived, and he had to force myself to put it aside because I wouldn't get anything else done. I can't stop thinking about it. Yeah, that was the case with me when I played Sleeping Gods earlier this year. Right now, that game is dice. Sorry, I always confuse Dice Throne Adventures. It's Role Player Adventures, which we have on the table now. I keep thinking about it. I love this game. I just want to keep playing it and playing it. We're about to enter the 7th scenario of the game right now. I really, really love Dice. Not Dice, Role Player Adventures. Todd also mentioned Ultimate Werewolf. It's a solid game, but I definitely prefer Avalon over that. George says, how is the Christmas market in St. Louis? Is there an open one now? You know, I'm not much of a holiday shopper, so I don't know. There might be, but I'm not aware of one. Alex says he loves the geocaching question on the survey. We've been doing it for years. Yeah, I had a shareholder ask about geocaching. I think they saw something cool that another company was doing and wanted to see if people were into it. So far, the results have indicated that not a lot of people know what geocaching is, or not a lot of people actually do it on an ongoing basis, but it might be a small, passionate group of people who are really into it, which is totally fine. I love small, passionate groups of people. All right, I think we're at the hour mark here. Thank you so much for joining this conversation, asking these questions. I will sort out some of these questions that you have, especially about Canada, and I will be in touch. Well, I won't be in touch about them, but feel free to check the Canadian web store for the Red Rising Metal Cubes and the Terra Mystica promo realm. We will put them in stock there whenever they actually arrive at Hubtrotter. Yeah. Oh, Sean had a quick question here. Oh, a few quick questions at the very end. Tom says, have I played Unfathomable? I have not. I've only played Battlestar Galactica. Sean says, what's my take on Role Player versus Role Player Adventures? They're different games that feel similar. If you want a campaign game, go for Role Player Adventures. I also really love Role Player, just the core game itself. I love building a character, and I love that the game is focused purely on building a character. Role Player Adventures is not about building a character. It's about going on an adventure. And, all right. I think that's all the questions for today. I'm going to go take care of some stuff. Thank you for joining me. Have a great Wednesday, a great week. I will see you next Wednesday. Take care. Bye.